Donald Trump's racist Madison Square Garden rally last night has proved to be one of the worst decisions of the entire campaign, one of their biggest blunders. They are being absolutely crushed by what was said by not only Trump last night, but of course the big takeaway moment from the night when a comedian made a joke about Puerto Rico that was just disgraceful. And MAGA is trying to do everything they can to clean this up. And of course, we see all the Trump stooges coming out trying to defend the indefensible. And one of those was Byron Donalds, who in an appearance on CNBC tried to make the case for why this is all okay and just liberal backlash. But no, he couldn't defend Trump. And in the middle of trying to, you can clearly see him crumble and realize this was the stake in the heart of Donald Trump's campaign. And we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now, before we get into Byron, I want to hear what AOC had to say because, of course, she slammed that comedian yesterday, but went off on the whole rally in an appearance on CNN today.
Right now, the campaign is scrambling, and they're trying to blame this rhetoric on a so-called comedian. This is not a comedian. This is the Trump campaign. They invited this rhetoric on their stage for a reason. It was a chorus of speakers on that campaign for a reason. It was vetted, and they knew exactly who was going to say what before they went on. And so the only backtracking that they're doing right now is just because tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans happen to live in Philadelphia, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, and also the several swing seats in the House of Representatives that run through the state of New York. And they're just realizing that they might have made a big error by saying out loud what they're thinking.
Just perfectly put by AOC. This is who Donald Trump has always been. This is who he will always be. He's not changing. This is his campaign, and this is what he wants to do in the Oval Office. He looks down upon Americans. We need a president who unites us. Now, of course, MAGA doesn't believe that. And of course, the Trump stooges are going to try to pretend that that is the truth of their campaign, but it's not. And they're going to fail to do so, just like Byron Donalds did. And this clip right here, called out by the host, and he just crumbled.
But before you go any further.
Well, you were there. Were you there for the whole time?
I was there the entire time. So to the New York Daily News, is it a racist rally if you have a black man from Florida who's originally from New York speaking at the rally? I don't think so. This is the problem with most media today. They're too busy trying to fearmonger everything it's instead of actually talking about the facts and the substance. It was a great rally last night. Donald Trump obviously spoke. Did he say something that was off color? No, he did not. I spoke. Did I say something off color? No, I did not. Eric Trump, Laura Trump, Don Trump Jr., Elon Musk, Howard Lutnick. Did they say anything that was off color? No, they did not.
The campaign distanced himself from the comedian who was there and the comments that he made.
I didn't agree with the comedian said. None of us did. When it came out, we were all like,
distanced himself.
Yeah, of course. We were all like, wait, what? Who? Did that get up? No. Nobody agreed with that. Nobody.
But it was
period.
Full people stop. Say I saw.
But he's also a comedian. We didn't control.
But it was in
the
prompter. Did the campaign know it was going to be in the teleprompter?
The prompter was not used by everybody.
It wasn't used by everybody.
No, everybody did not use the prompter. Some people used the teleprompter. I didn't use the teleprompter. Some people did. Some people didn't.
Okay, but so the Associated Press, Trump's Madison Square Garden event features crude and racist insults. That did happen. You may not have been the one making them, but that did happen.
And Becky just said it. The campaign has distanced themselves from it. They do not agree.
I understand that,
I do not agree.
I have a question.
Unfortunately, it was said. But nobody agrees with that.
But I have a question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
And this is what I think, to the extent that there are folks who, by the way, may agree with the policies of Trump.
Yes.
But don't want to vote for Trump. And those, you know some of those people. The reason that they don't want to vote for Trump is because they see either in his character or the people who seem to support him seem to be engaged in that or willing to engage in that, right? Because what you don't see, you don't go to other rallies for Harris or see in a Harris rally that kind of vitriol. It just you see. Look,
you don't?
I don't think you do.
Kamala Harris spends half her time talking about her rival as Hitler, after he's been There have been attempts on his life, not once, but twice. She's doing it right now. Every Democrat official at these rallies refers to him as Adolf Hitler. You got Hillary Clinton running around there hawking her book that nobody wants to buy, frankly. And she's talking about how this is akin to 1939. Are you out of your mind? You want to talk about rhetoric? Let's compare. But let me go back. We are talking about the comments of a comedian.
Right.
And everybody's going to forget it in 48 hours. The real joke in America is the terrible policy of Kamala Harris. Let's talk specifically about Puerto Ricans in America today. Puerto Ricans have had to live under the same inflation unleashed by Kamala Harris. And that's not a joke, but they got to live with it. Puerto Ricans today are living under the same terrible border policies that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris unleashed. That's a terrible joke on the American people. We should be focused on that.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that front. I'm just saying, to the extent that you can speak to those people who are out there watching who say, you know what, I agree with the Trump policies, but I just can't abide by reading headlines like that.
In America today, and I don't want not to cut you off, but in America today, we have to decide, are we going to be trapped by the headlines of a media who, quite frankly, is in the tank one way or the other, or are we going to look at the actual policies that matter in your life?
Out.
No, because this matters. You can't take it out.
But you take the headlines out.
But you can't. You raise headlines. You can't take it out. We have to decide as Americans: are we going to be caught up in what media says to us, or are we going to talk about the reality facing our nation? And the reality facing our nation is we are seriously in decline because of terrible leadership in Washington, D.C. Those are the facts.
Congressman, I can appreciate all of that, but it was the campaign that put this comedian on the stage instead of talking about the facts that you're talking about. And you can look at social media to find all of these criticisms of it, too.
No, so listen, I criticize it myself. Social media is going to do that because the Harris campaign is pushing that because they're looking for something to talk about. Because she has nothing to talk about. Because when she goes out and talks, she says absolutely nothing. You all know this. She's not answering the issues facing the American people. So she goes try to find a comedian's point at a rally. I don't agree with it. The campaign doesn't agree with it.
Can I just say this?
But the issues which were talked about have to
we could stipulate and you could decide that you think she doesn't have the right answers, and that's something that people can make up their own mind about. But I think there are people who watch the videos of either that comedian, by the way, the fellow who's on the radio, some of the other comments, and people just watch that. It's not the media telling them to watch it. You watch it and you say to yourself, this is not a great situation.
Byron Donalds is one of the most dishonest liars in the entire Republican Party, and I unfortunately see him more and more. And I think it's because he is so disingenuous, so willing to lie. It almost seems like he likes it, that MAGA wants to push him out there, and it might be for other reasons. I don't know. But Byron really gets under my skin because he brings this smugness to all of his discussions where he pretends that, oh, it's just everything's being overblown, or that's not what Donald Trump means, when we know what he means because the actions are also there. His racist actions also accompany the racist language, the fear-mongering rhetoric, and the people who he invites to be around him. And all of that is what Kamala Harris called out in this clip right here.
Donald Trump this is not new about him, by the way. What he did last night is not a discovery. It is just more of the same and maybe more vivid than usual. Donald Trump spends full time trying to have Americans point their finger at each other, fans the fuel of hate and division, and that's why people are exhausted with him. That's why people who formerly have supported Donald Trump, have voted for him, are supporting me, voting for me. People are literally ready to turn the page. They're tired of it. In terms of Puerto Rico, even when I was in the United States Senate, knowing that Puerto Rico does not have a United States Senator, I was intentional about doing what I could as a United States Senator to make sure that among my priorities, it included paying attention to the needs of the people on that island, including the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. I have announced also my plan that is about my opportunity economy writ large, but a specific target that will include a task force focused on the needs of Puerto Rico, understanding that it has very specific needs in terms of upgrading and repairing its electrical grid, what it needs in terms of investment that will be public-private partnerships. And I'm going to continue to do it. I'm very proud to have the support of folks like Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez and others who were supporting me before that nonsense last night at Madison Square Garden. and are supporting me because they understand that they want a president of the United States who's about uplifting the people and not berating, not calling America a garbage can, which is what Donald Trump, those are the words he has used. So there you go. I'll see you later.
This should absolutely be part of the closing message for the Kamala Harris campaign, because as we have continued to say, this race isn't just about Donald Trump, but the people who he would empower around him in a second Trump administration. God willing, it does not come. That's what he wants to do. He wants to take the worst elements of MAGA, the strongest cult supporters, and put them in positions of power to attack us, attack our government, and attack our fundamental freedoms. That's what they want to do. They can try to play this off as a joke, but it's a representation of who they are. And speaking of which, Donald Trump's campaign spokesperson had a different spin on all of this that really kind of screwed over the campaign.
Look, it was a comedian who made a joke in poor taste. Obviously, that joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign. And I think it is sad that the media will pick up on one joke that was made by a comedian rather than the truths that were shared by the phenomenal list of speakers that we had. We had congressmen and women. We had Senator J.D. Vance. We had Dana White, friends of the president. Dan Scavino, my colleague and friend, who shared very intimate moments with President Trump when they were in the hospital in Butler, Pennsylvania, really showing the truth about President Trump and his heart of gold. And the crowd, they didn't mind, right? Again, it was a diverse group of people. The joke fell flat.
Carolyn Levitt is not very good at her job. I love that she just decided to sprinkle in at the end there, oh, well, the crowd didn't seem to mind the joke. Yeah, because they're also racist. So they laughed at a racist joke. Should that be surprising to us? I don't think so. And that is not a defense of the indefensible. They are bad at this. These are the worst people. We cannot allow them to run our government. With so few days left, the argument couldn't be clearer. And we're going to keep talking about it on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.